Alright, so today I wanted to make a video about the best deer hunting calibers. Now, for starters, I do know that when someone says caliber, they're not actually referring to the literal definition of caliber, because the literal definition of caliber, in a 243 is actually 24 caliber. The literal definition of 30-06 is 30 cal. So when people are asking that, they're actually asking what cartridge is it. So I understand that, but getting into it, this is kind of a tough video to make, and why it's a tough video is that if you ask someone what is the best caliber for deer, that's one question, but the problem is most people who go to buy a hunting rifle, they don't hunt just deer with it, right? Maybe you want it as a gun, you want to be able to mess around at, a range with, on the side. Maybe you want to, most people probably want to hunt other things, whether it's bear, elk, moose, you name it. So that is the thing that you really have to keep in mind. That's something I'm also going to be keeping in mind when I'm making these videos, or this video, because again, I don't think that most people when they go to buy a rifle are planning on just hunting deer with it, which is why it makes it a tough thing to do. So getting right into it, I do have some honorable mentions. 243 would be the first one. And if I was buying a gun just for deer, the 243 would definitely be higher on the list. But the problem with 243 is it's not a caliber you can be used. People use it. I've heard people, online that have used it and stuff, and they swear by it. But I would not be confident in using a 243 for any bigger game. And again, that's just me, and I think most people agree with that, but there is some people out there that would disagree. So 243, like I say, if it was just for deer hunting, this would definitely be higher on the list. It would definitely be in my top three. But considering that it's not, you know, um, considering that fact, I'm going to have it just as an honorable mention. 30-06, why 30-06? It's a lot more powerful. It's one of the most powerful on this list. That was 7 meg, and 30-06. Why is it on the list? Because it's a bigger round. But again, 30-06 is going to be overkill for deer. It's going to be more ideal for the elk, moose, more or less the bigger kind of game. Why is it on the list? Because it's a more popular caliber. You're gonna have no problem finding it. If you're looking to buy a gun, you're going to be able to compare many guns, because pretty much every major brand is going to chamber their guns in 30-06. And the one thing that I will mention is that I'm not a fan of the more oddball calibers. Why is that? Number one, because the ammo is harder to find, the ammo is more expensive, and most of those calibers offer no clear advantage to the more common ones. So again, I really don't see any point in buying a lot of those to begin with. Um, so that is something they'll bring up. And again, that's just me, but that's kind of what I'm getting at. But again, 30-06 would be very good, and it would be higher on my list as well. Is if you want it for deer, but you also want something for moose, for bear, for elk, stuff like that. Now, 7 meg is also a very good caliber, but again, 7 meg is going to be more powerful. It's going to be overkill for deer, but why do I have 7 meg as an honorable mention? Because it is also a very good caliber if you're looking at having something for deer, but also for moose, for elk, for bear, and honestly, I believe there's an argument to be made that 7 meg is a better round than the 30-06. Why is that? Because at longer ranges, 7 meg is going to be flatter shooting, especially for elk. I know there's a lot of the places you hunt elk, a lot of times you got to take a shot from a ways away. 7 meg would be a very good caliber for that. So again, those are the honorable mentions. Getting into the list, number three, I have the 6.5 Creedmoor. Now again, this is something that's going to surprise a lot of people because it's not considered a traditional hunting caliber. The 6.5 Creedmoor was invented basically to be a competition, long range shooting caliber. But since it's gotten so popular, 6.5 Creedmoor, literally, it was invented, I think, in the late 2000s, but it didn't get popular until like a few years ago. 5 years ago, 6.5 Creedmoor was still a very unpopular caliber, and I think that it will continue to get more popular. It's already you look at some of these long range matches, pretty much everybody has a 6.5. And because the caliber has become so popular, people saying, "Oh, this is about deer hunting. Why do you care?" The point being is that most major, these popular hunting rifles, most of them are now available in 6.5 Creedmoor. And why are they doing that? Well, because if you want to, compete in long range shooting or have a round that's better at long range, you can have one caliber, right? Even if you have two guns, you got one caliber, you're good to go. Again, the other reason too being is that it is a good caliber. It offers a little bit more power than a 243, actually a decent amount, around 2,300 pounds. But the biggest benefit to it is its ability to shoot very flat, especially at long range. And again, it's becoming more and more popular. The only downside with it is it's not going to be something you're going to want to use for bigger game. Maybe like elk from close range, but again, like you wouldn't want to shoot an elk but beyond 100 or 200 yards with, and I still don't even know if I'd want to do it. Um, but again, that is why it's on the list. And as far as a if you're buying a gun just for deer, I think that there's a pretty good argument to be made that 6.5 is the best caliber, which is why I have it on the top three. So number two, I have 270. Why do I have 270? It's going to provide a good amount of energy, around 2,700 pounds. There is some rounds where it gets upwards of 3,000, but again, your average round is going to be looking at around 2,700 pounds of energy. It is relatively flat shooting. It's not going to be as flat shooting, especially at the longer ranges, as something like a 6.5 or even a 7 mag. Um, it can be used for bigger game, which is why it's on the list. Because again, most people that are buying a hunting rifle are going to buy something that they're also going to be used. Maybe they don't plan on it, but down the road, it's like, hey, I want to shoot a moose or an elk or a bear, and you don't want to be stuck with a 243. As good as a 243 is, you don't want to be stuck with it if you want to shoot a moose, right? So that's why. And again, 270 is not going to be ideal for moose, but it definitely is not the worst in the world. Um, and again, it is a very common caliber. That is the one thing, like I say, that I stress, especially for people just getting into things, is that you don't want to buy one of these oddball calibers unless you're absolutely certain of it, like absolutely certain of it, because again, you're going to be paying more for ammo. The ammo is going to be harder to find, especially during times like now. Is that ammo is hard to find? Like I've been to some gun stores recently, very recent actually, some major ones, and a lot of these calibers are hard. Even the more common calibers. I mean, I remember being able to go to some of these, big, the Cabela's of the world, and you have a 308 or a 270, and you can have 10, 15, 20 different kinds of ammo to pick from. Now you're looking at like five. So again, that's one of the main reasons why. And again, if you got one of these oddball calibers, you maybe got one or two. You're paying $60 for a pack of ammo in Canada for that on average, probably. You can still find decent quality ammo for 270 or 308 for 30, $35 if you reload. You can definitely get it for cheaper, and if you find it on sale too, I've seen stuff on sale for a decent amount too. But again, the main point with the 270 being it is a very good all around caliber, I guess, which is why I have it on there. It's not going to be gross overkill for deer. It is overkill to a slight degree, but not a gross amount. First, I have the 308. Now, why do I have the 308? The amount of energy out of a 308 is about the same as a 270. I would give tie goes to the 308 because it's a little bigger caliber. It isn't the only major downside to a 308 is it's not the flattest shooting round, but there is some ammo out there, namely the Hornady Superformance, that is very flat shooting. In fact, the Hornady Superformance 308 is flatter shooting than the 270. So there is some very flat shooting 308 ammo out there if that's what you're looking for. And the biggest benefit of the 308 is it's the most common caliber as far as center fire goes. 223 would be more common or more popular, but again, it's illegal to hunt deer with 223 in most areas, so I'm not going to consider that. But again, it is the most common caliber. You can go to a store, you can buy some cheap FMJs if you want to, plink at the range or your range or wherever. There's if you go to a gun store, um, the most common caliber. I mean, like I said, aside from like 223, as far as center fire goes, I mean, you can find 7.62 by 39 in bulk too, but that's different. Um, it is going to be the most common caliber, especially for reloading as well. Again, 30 cal bullets, very cheap, very plentiful. That is the main reason why. And again, it is an all-around caliber too. It can be there's no problem as long as you're using good quality ammo and you place your shots well, hunting the bigger game. You can shoot moose, you can shoot bear, you can shoot the elk. Um, Again, not ideal, but it can be done no problem. So again, that is why it's the first one on the list. The first one on the list because it provides plenty of energy. Um, the most plentiful caliber again. Um, there like I mentioned before, there's no reason to get the oddball, at least in my opinion. And I think that the I don't know if you want to call it evidence, but I think that the prevailing thought would agree with that. That most of the people that buy these more oddball calibers, there's no real reason for doing it, right? Like there's no real reason for doing it. So again, that is my list. Like I say, honestly, the 270 and the 308, you're pretty much splitting hairs. But I think tie goes to the 308 for the fact that it is a slightly more common caliber, and there's going to be a little bit more selection. And like I say too, if you want to buy go buy a cheap pack of ammo, you want to mess around at the range, you're going to have a little easier time finding that for 308 as compared to 270. So, but again, honestly, all the calibers on the list, even including the honorable mentions, I don't think you can go wrong with any of them. But again, that is what I'm saying. So again, if you disagree, fine. But again, that is just what I'm saying. So I'm going to leave the video there. If you'd like to, make sure to hit that like and subscribe if you haven't already, and stay tuned for more.